Low Targar friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and you guys know what time it is. Time for another Orc Mode workout. And today was Dynamic Effort Squat and Deadlift Day. Now, for those of you who watch these videos every day, please just reach down and click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. It will help offset the hundreds of dislikes my workout videos get for no actual reason. And if you guys watch these every day, it's not that hard to just reach down and click it. So please remember to do so. Thank you so much. Over to the workout. Today was the last week in the wave. Heaviest week, for those curious, that is 252 pounds on the bar, 125 pounds of chains, which puts us right about 50% of my max, with 25% of my max in chain weight. And that's pretty typical for a dynamic wave. So I did 12 doubles. A lot of people ask stuff like, how long are breaks for these? The breaks are almost non-existent. I mean, it's dynamic work. You don't take like 30 minutes between these. Maybe a minute. Sometimes the deadlift's 45 seconds. I mean, I don't time it exactly, but you know, ballpark these days, approximately 1 minute. Approximately a minute. So yeah, you do need to be reasonably conditioned to do these. This is one reason we do Metcon work and conditioning work. So you get good work density on your speed work, because these are done pretty quick. Literally, all the speed work itself is done in a short period of time. Like this whole workout takes maybe with the assistance work, maybe an hour. Maybe an hour. That's pretty reasonable because the breaks are short. And you spend a little bit of time setting up chains and everything. And I usually take a good breather between the squat and the deadlift personally. But again, working on that speed, and this is back down on a 12-inch box. And just trying to find some footing and stuff. Like one of the things I've noticed now that I've taken the boots off, trying to get the thing set correctly, the J-hooks is a little bit difficult. I really should have gone down one more notch because that buffalo bar and no boots on. Now, some people have asked me, why are you training barefoot? They're just generally better. I think guys like Chris Duffin, and I'll give Chris credit for that, I think he's very much onto something when he talks about rooting and everything. You know, in competition you have to wear shoes. But if you don't have to wear shoes, why would you wear shoes to train? Your feet spread easier. You get better grip at the floor, better rooting to the floor, better force production, right? So we get better training with no shoes on. You know, people say, so what about slipping? Well, I've got really grippy surface there. Really grippy surface, you know? So it's not a big deal. I'm not worried about it. Because I've seen people out there, some supposed experts, say, oh, you shouldn't train barefoot. And it's like, why? You have some phenomenal coaches who are world record holders pretty much, and who coach near world record holders who train without shoes and make pretty good arguments for it. I think there's something to it. You know, and now I like to wear the boots before. People say, well, why wear the boots? I've had people come up with silly reasons why they think I wear boots, because they're work boots. And when I'm training, I want to be in work mode. Right? This is about working. This is my job. This is a big part of my job. One reason I train the way I do now. But if I get better benefits from not wearing shoes, I'm going to go ahead and just take the shoes off. You know, so at this point, yeah, unless I have to wear my socks, I train in shorts. Put on my belt. And, you know, people say stuff like, well, why do all that? I've had people actually ask that. Because it's hot. You guys need to understand, I'm sweating. As you guys notice, as I get into the deadlifts, I'm sweating in the middle of winter. I live in an extremely hot place. It doesn't actually get cold where I live. It doesn't snow. It doesn't do any of that stuff. And because of where I live, the way my condos are set up, I don't always have air conditioning. There's more of a central thing that controls some of the flow of that. I can't get air conditioning just because I want it. So I have a fan on in my office, so between sets or between exercises, when I go to sit down for a minute, I've got a fan running that blows on me, and that helps. But when I'm up doing these short breaks, you know, you sweat. All right? Sweating gets clothes ruined. So I don't have gym rules in my home, or one of my homes. I don't have gym rules here stating that I have to wear a shirt. So why bother? What's the point? It just gets more sweat everywhere. More clothes that have to be washed, more work for me. And then, you know, by that same token, no one sees me. And that's one of the things I talk about, how fake people are in this industry. Nobody else documents their training. No one trains shirtless year round. So I think you guys would be shocked. A lot of people who are like, oh, you look awful with your loose skin. Because hopefully you guys realize that. I'm actually relatively lean at this point by health standards. Not by bodybuilding standards, but no reasonable person cares about bodybuilding. I mean, if you care about bodybuilding, you care about a death cult and a degenerate lifestyle anyway. So I don't know why you're watching a fitness channel, right? Because you don't care about fitness if you like bodybuilding. So let's just make that clear. You don't care about fitness or health. In fact, you're anti-fitness if you even remotely follow bodybuilding as a fan. You hate health and fitness. They're incompatible. Be like being a fan of a cigarette smoking channel and claiming you love fitness. Doesn't work that way. So, over to the point. Reasonably lean by health standards, probably 15% body fat right now. Just that loose skin. But you guys can see where I'm at year round, you know? You can see where I'm at, and you can see the changes over time. And I don't think it's anything to be worried about. You know, plenty of guys have always trained shirtless. In strength world, you see tons of powerlifters way fatter than me. They train shirtless. No one cares. Football players train shirtless and practice shirtless all the time. Athletes do it. No one cares. It's actually normal. It's perfectly normal. Right? It's perfectly normal everywhere but the weird bodybuilding world that thinks that, no, you got to be covered up unless you look shredded, bro. That's because anyone who's a fan of it's really insecure. They're insecure people. Like, only insecure people are even drawn to that lifestyle. No one who's confident or secure would ever be involved in the aesthetics thing. They would never care about it. Let's be realistic. It's the norm. But over to the speed work. 12 doubles. And over time they got a little faster. I felt like they were a little slow early on. But we're getting into our groove. I feel like I do better with bands on speed work than I do with chains. You know, and I might work in some raw phases too at some point without the bands or the chains. I mean, I like chains. Chains are cool and everything. But sometimes for speed work and stuff, I don't feel like I get what I get out of bands. I could just as easily go raw. And granted, I understand most people accept this is the right way to do it. Look, chains can be fun and everything. They also make a lot of noise. Fortunately for me, I train during times of the day when it's really, really loud outside anyway, so it's not a big deal. Like the noise outside when I train is actually louder than what goes on in here. But we did a little bit different on the speed pulls today. I did 12 doubles, okay, and we went a hair heavier. Because now I'm doing the mixed grip back and forth, and I've realized I'm so much stronger with the mixed grip. So much stronger with the mixed grip. Now that one I went ahead and just did it a quick double. The rest of them I went ahead and I did a reset. So we treat them as individual reps. I turned loose, stood back up, squatted back down and grabbed it. I'm trying to get my sumo dialed in. That's one of the reasons. I don't think people realize that. I've changed my sumo technique in addition to the mixed grip. That's one reason I pulled 600 off those blocks the other day. Well, we got to hit a sumo max coming up. So I need a lot of practice getting this set up because I'm going to drop down to a 1 block this next week and try to hit a max. Okay? And I don't know what I'm going to get. I have no idea. I just know that I'm going to come in. I've got some predictions in my head, but I'm not going to try to sabotage myself, and I'm not going to try to shortchange myself either. My prediction could be off by 50 pounds, either direction. So I'm not going to stand there and try to predict anything. I'm just going to come in and do it. But I figure I better practice, doing a little bit of extra grip work, because I know I'm going to pull heavy. And I need to make sure my grip is on point. I need to make sure everything's going. So this speed work is really where I get my technique. So I'm practicing a few different things, but I have changed my technique. A lot of you guys notice the way I roll my pelvis under, trying to get more upright, and then we just grip it and rip it. All right? Get pulled in, deep breaths, squat down to the bar, grip it and rip it. Notice I don't look down. I don't look down at all. That's one of the things I've also learned from watching the sumo and studying it, studying some of the best sumo pullers out there and even coaches who teach it, talking to them. You want to totally ruin your sumo deadlift, look down at any point while you're setting your grip. That will ruin it. And people say, well, how do you know you're gripping the right spot? Does it matter? Because if you ruin your technique to look down, you automatically do it wrong. If you look down, your sumo is automatically ruined. So do you want to take a risk of it being ruined, or you want to guarantee you ruined it? I'd rather take a risk. Don't look down. You've got to keep your head up and your torso up, because the second you look down, you turn it into a stiff leg deadlift. You can't bend over on a sumo. Okay, you can't bend over. You got to pull. So how do you know you're set right? Well, you set your feet correctly and you put your arms straight down. If your arms are straight down and your feet are evenly spaced, how is your grip going to be off? Okay. You don't need to know where you grip the bar. And that's something I've had to explain to clients. They're like, well, how do I know where the right spot to grip the bar is? You don't have to know. It's irrelevant. A blind man can pull sumo. So if a blind man can pull sumo without knowing where his hands are on the knurling, why do you need to know? It's irrelevant. You don't set your grip by looking down and figuring out. You set your grip by your biomechanics. Okay? And if your feet are in the right position and they're evenly spaced, and you put your arms straight down, your grip will be in the right spot. It's only if you splay the arms in or out. It's a problem. Look, watch what happens. Set up, scapula down and back, arms straight down. That is your grip. That's where it needs to be. That would be your perfect grip. You don't need to see where you're gripping it. You need to be gripping it where your arms are straight down. And if you're uneven left to right, it's like, well, what if one of my hands is further in or out? Well, that's because one of your feet isn't spaced right. Use those rings and the plates to line your feet up. The only way you're going to be off by 2 inches in the middle where you're gripping it is if your feet, one of your feet is 2 inches too far in or out. Okay. Set yourself up even, problem solved. Notice I alternate them a lot. I try to get about half of my reps each direction. That's to avoid the muscle imbalances we get from mixed grip. Okay. Now when I pull heavy, I do them on my strongest way only. I know what my stronger grip is. That's what I do for maxes. For volume, which is where it's going to, like speed pulls, that's going to give you a lot more of your muscle growth, or if I ever do some volume, which I probably will coming up, alternate. Because our concerns with mixed grip are obviously bicep tears, and our other concern is going to be uneven development. Well, by alternating, that goes away. So that's what we need to do. But yeah, this 12 doubles, this is the most pulling I've done on a speed day. And I'm going to tell you, it was fatiguing. It was fatiguing. Especially with me calculating based off my new max. Right? So this is heavier than a normally speed pull total. It's still fast though, but it's heavier, and I'm doing doubles instead of singles. Instead of 20 singles, I did 12 doubles. That's a lot more work density. It was challenging. I felt that it hit my whole posterior chain. I felt beat up. But we're going to get some good muscle growth from that, because this is a growth day. You know, speed work makes you grow. Speed work makes you grow. And I think with the combined grip work that I'm getting in from all the chins and a little bit of grip work, combined with the fact that I'm PRing on my supplemental lifts, like these glute bridges coming up, I think we're going to hit a solid deadlift this week. But I'm not going to put any real thought into it. I'm just going to train around all of it, make sure I don't do any grip work the last couple days so my grip is on point. Because I got a bench to a max the day before, get all that done, and I'm just going to come in and pull. And hopefully we hit something real nice, and everybody's happy, and everyone says, hey Jason, that was really good. But it's just going to be what it's going to be. I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to train hard going into it. And you know, and it's just another workout, because 2 weeks later I'll have to pull heavy again on a different variation. Glute Bridge is 5x10. Went up again. For those curious, that is now 355. All right, we're now working with 355. I think we started with, what, about 275 or so? 265. All right, we're up to 355. On pretty much every single workout, we've gone up in weight. And this is challenging, but you know what? It's no harder than it was 30 pounds ago. About the same level of fatigue. So we're getting strong with it. And this is going to be a staple exercise. This is going to be a lift I do on every lower body day right now. I need more glute, more hamstring. This fits the bill. In addition to the ab work, between doing these glute bridges and the fact that I do 100 chins every day, I don't do any more ab work. People ask me, what do you do for ab work? I used to do a ton. I don't need it right now. My core gets trained so hard between all this stuff that I don't feel that I need any. Like I said, doing 100 chins a day I feel like does a lot. I mean, you talk about a phenomenal just supplemental movement. And that's what some people don't get with that either. They're like, man, why do that? You're not going to get the best hypertrophic effect. You're not taking steps to failure. They're not factoring in all the core and grip work and everything else I get with it, in addition to work capacity. You know, I feel like that combined with stuff like these glute bridges, that's going to keep that deadlift moving. It's going to keep my deadlift moving. And that's what we need. We need a big deadlift. Because my squat's caught up, right? We know that the squat's caught up. Now we said we're going to focus on deadlift and bench. The deadlift is coming along, but we don't quit training it. Because the bench gets its own days. And my bench is going to be purely a matter of getting my triceps bigger. And that's easy enough to sort 2 days a week. We just tricep specialization. But outside of my 2 days of serious tricep specialization, we got to work on the deadlift. That means we bring up the weak links for it. It's going to be hamstrings. It's going to be glutes. It's going to be technique, getting the sumo pulls down with the different variations in the speed work. But yeah, keeping it moving forward. You know, I'm not as worried about my squat right now. We can worry about the squat again later. We'll get to a 600 squat one day. Right now we need to get this deadlift up and really get the bench up. And they all feed into each other anyways at the end of the day because strength equals strength. Alright guys, well that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.